I need something. There is something written on this scalpel. I should clean it. I can't do that. I can't. I can see something. Ah, I can make out WCCH. What do the initials stand for? How many hospitals are there in the Whitechapel area, Watson?
If we count public dispensaries, enough to keep us busy for an entire month. Did this scalpel come from a hospital?
Yes, as the initials WCCH engraved upon it show us. We must think on how best to deal with this. We do not have the time to investigate every hospital in Whitechapel. Tooth marks, rather deep ones. I'd say of incisors and a canine. Tooth marks, rather deep ones. Black and damp earth under the nail. Interesting. I can see something. Fragments of skin. A phalanx. This finger wasn't cut off. It was ripped off.
Bite marks on this severed finger. I am afraid of the significance.
The thieves didn't get what they wanted. When they were faced with the bishop's refusal to cooperate, one of the gang shook his finger at him to indicate that he was responsible for his unfortunate state.
And the poor man, whose head was the only part of him not bound by ropes, bit the finger violently enough to sever it. An uncommonly savage act.
Watson, I am certain that when we have explained the reasons behind this sudden bestiality, we will have revealed a larger part of the mystery. I have cut a small piece off the rope. That should be enough. A lot of fragments of black and damp earth. This rope is only worn on one side. This rope is only worn on one side. I must compare the samples of earth that I found. This fragment of stone is very smooth, and it seems to be of a peculiar quality. I shall have to strip it with one of my products. This stone appears to be... I can see something. I can see something. This stone is granite, covered in black paint. The fragments found in the rope and this piece of granite come from the same place. I must compare the samples of earth that I found. And if I mixed this earth with another substance, now it must all be stirred. The samples of earth taken from beneath the fingernail and from the ropes originate from the same place.
How do you know?
It took just a little water to analyze the consistency. The soil has retained its moisture, even though there hasn't been rain in London for over a week.
This soil could come from the bank of a river, or somewhere where the evaporation is slower. A mine, perhaps, or a trench.
The banks of the Thames are clay soil, unlike our samples, so we can rule that out. The nearest mines are 12 miles away, so I would rule that out also. I would therefore conclude your last theory to be nearer the mark.
A trench?
A pit. Watson, bring me your register of the London hospitals.
Studying the scalpel has given you an idea, then?
Indeed.
I'll get it. Read the paper, Holmes. hospitals and dispensaries in London. I have found my book, Holmes.
Good. Put it on the work table, will you?
I have found my book, Holmes.
Good. Put it on the work table, will you?
Here is the section showing Whitechapel. I made several notations on these pages during our investigation into the Ripper, which might prove useful. All we need to do is to find a hospital or a public dispensary near a location where pits have been dug and black granite has been used.
It's simplicity itself. I haven't finished my analysis. I need something. Now I can make the right decision. I haven't finished my analysis.
The public dispensary number 4661. It's just opposite the Whitechapel Street Cemetery.
Yes, Watson. The murderer with the missing finger must work in the cemetery, or at least visit it. He could have taken a rope, one of the type they use to lower the coffins into the graves. The granite is minute particles of tombstone.
And he only had to cross the road to steal a scalpel from the dispensary opposite.
Poison, and apparently very virulent. Poison. Discreet, efficient, and only detectable via a thorough post-mortem.
Have you been able to isolate the active components, Holmes?
Not with any certainty. This toxic substance surpasses my own knowledge in the field. It is without doubt the work of an expert chemist.
A chemist and a criminal.
As you say, please find my monograph on poisoners of the last 30 years. According to these documents, Hans Schielmann, known as the Rat Killer, was considered the greatest specialist in chemical poison in the world.
Is he at liberty?
Happily, no. He has been held in the high-security wing of London's Westgate prison for many years now.
Then he cannot be the one who concocted the poison.
Don't dismiss him too quickly, Watson. According to Scotland Yard, the man is exceptionally intelligent. For the greatest criminals, prison is but a mere obstacle. Let's plan a little visit to see Mr. Schielmann tomorrow. Let us look at our deduction board, Watson. Let us look at our deduction board, Watson. Perfect. Well done, Watson. Our board is finished. It confirms that the bishop's murderers work for one person, who, amongst other things, possesses a very sophisticated poison. They therefore act for someone more educated than themselves. You remember Wiggins and his gang, the Baker Street Irregulars?
Yes, the street urchins, whom you employ upon occasion, and Wiggins is their leader.
Yes. Well, I have hired their services again. I have instructed them to find out the address of the bishop's nephew.
I think he's here.
Hello, Mr. Holmes.
Wiggins, my young friend, have you found the information for which the good Dr. Watson is going to pay you?
Yes, Mr. Holmes, it was easy.
Very well, I understand. Here are a few pennies.
Thanks, Dr. Watson. The man you're looking for lives near Kensington.
Does he live alone?
Yes, but he rents a room for an old lady.
Did she see you?
No, Mr. Holmes, no one saw me.
Perfect. Watson, give our young friend another shilling as a reward for his discretion.
Here we go again. But of course... I'm falling asleep, Holmes. Aren't you tired?
No, I have an exceptional constitution. I can't remember ever having been fatigued by work. Idleness, on the other hand, exhausts me completely. Go to bed, Watson. The night will be short. We leave at dawn.
Wow, this is a real adventure. It's exciting. I like it better than made-up stories. I want to know what happens next. Keep reading. I'm going to. I want to listen to. My readers must excuse me if I do not describe in full detail here the terrible images which haunted me that night.
I had a sense that something extraordinary would take place, but I was scarcely prepared for the reality of it. Good morning, Holmes. Did you get any rest?
I did not attempt to sleep.
Have you managed to come to any conclusions?
I think that we might follow 3 trails. We can visit Whitechapel to try to discover the identity of the murderers by making inquiries at Dispensary 4661 and at the Whitechapel Street Cemetery.
The poison trail seems more important to me. We should perhaps go to Westgate Prison first to see Hans Schielman.
Yes, and let us not forget the bishop's irascible nephew, whose address we now have, thanks to my Baker Street Irregulars. I have located each place on our map of London.
Holmes, let me remind you that we still have not been officially instructed to investigate this affair.
Ah, well, we will just have to hide that small detail. Let us go to the bishop's nephew's house. We have arrived.
The bishop's nephew lives here.
Yes, he rents a ground floor room.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
How do you do, madam? We should like to see one of your lodgers, Henry Hampford.
Well, he's away. And you must understand, I don't open my door to strangers, especially with all these prowlers about.
That is the reason for our visit.
You're the police.
No, Henry is a friend of ours. He expressed his concern to us about these intruders. We're here at his request.
I'm not surprised. Mr. Henry, while he might seem strange at first, is a thoughtful and kind man. He must have noticed how worried I've been. Why, just this morning some of my washing was stolen, and I'm sure it was those ones who took it.
It seems like the best place to start our investigation. May we step into your garden and then perhaps look into our friend's room?
I don't see anything wrong with your looking over the garden, but his room... You understand, he didn't warn me.
I understand.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Let's have a look in the garden. Closed.
Indeed, there appears to be some linen missing.
There should be a spade here. A small pickaxe. There should be a spade here. Closed.
A rake. Why take it, Holmes?
Tins of food tied to one another. Tins of food tied to one another. The wire seems long enough. They look to me as though they're rudimentary traps used to indicate the presence of intruders.
Oh, what a jumble! Without a doubt, it is the linen belonging to Henry's landlady.
There is something interesting here. I need something. Good, we can pass. It is just as I thought. Here's an ideal view of Henry's room.
That confirms that the young man was being watched.
This newspaper is 4 days old. The bishop's nephew was being watched long before his uncle's murder. The remains of a small meal. Someone has stayed here rather a long time. Nothing of interest here. To let. To let. This clothing is torn. The man who stole it must have caught it on a tree when he stood upon the fence.
And at the moment when he jumped, he left this jacket in the tree.
Is this the washing you were looking for?
Oh, yes, that's it. Where did you find it?
On the ground, doubtless blown there by the wind.
They didn't steal it then. I'd have felt better knowing that those lurkers were nothing more than clothes thieves.
That is not the case, madam. This affair seems to be rather more serious than that. It appears that these intruders were spying on Henry. Now, please, let us see his room.
Gracious me, whatever next? Come in. Take the first door on the left. It's open. He never locks it.
Never?
No, never. Well, you know him. He doesn't do things like everyone else. He lives in a world of his own.
When did you see him last? Did he say anything to you?
Yesterday morning, he just muttered a few words. I can't always understand what he's saying. When he does talk, that is. I can ask him a question, but he just stares off somewhere. The floor, the ceiling, as if I wasn't there. At first I found it strange, but I've gotten used to it.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. He's sometimes nervous too, isn't he?
Oh, yes. As soon as anything upsets him. Even when he's alone in his room, he gets cross. And then the next second he is standing stock still. He stares off into space and calms down again as fast as he became angry.
A violin. It is a lovely one, but where's its case? It is an impressive library for someone living alone.
And he's read all that. Impressive.
This candle is still hot. It's been used recently.
During the day? Whatever for? What is this strange installation?
This rubbish bin was emptied, and then someone threw a torn piece of paper in it, and judging by the smell, there was also an onion.
Onion?
Let us put these torn pieces of paper on the table.
Both sides of the paper are blank. All this for nothing, Holmes.
Perhaps not, Watson. This candle is still hot.
During the day? Whatever for?
No hat, no coat. He got his scarf out, but he forgot to take it. Someone emptied a bag here. This candle is still hot. It's been used recently.
During the day? What is this strange...
There is something interesting here. A box. Let's see. I am missing some information. I am missing some information. He scratched the lock's cipher codes for himself. Watson, write them down for us. I am missing some information.
It is noted.
I am missing I am missing some information.
It is noted. It is noted. I have noted down everything.
This lock is very complex. The young Henry is remarkably intelligent. Empty. But according to the label, this box contained a Colt Patterson.
It is a powerful weapon, Holmes, and judging by the receipt, it was new.
The white paper we've put together is blank. Strange. And the smell of onions.
Onion? What is this strange installation? What is this strange installation? What is this strange installation?
The address of a dock on the Thames. My dear Watson, in the garden and in this room, pieces are missing that should never have left their places. What do you think? Quick, Watson, there's not a moment to lose. Go and thank that charming lady while I try to recapture our new friend.
Recapture? What makes you think that he has run away?
I believe that our man suffers from behavioral problems. You must have seen or heard about those poor fellows who spend their time counting the gravel stones in the garden or moving objects from one place to another hundreds of times in one day. Well, the bishop's nephew suffers from a moderate form of this condition. Nothing would be more disturbing to him than to leave a personal space in such chaos, and yet this is what he has done with this room. For it to reach such a state of neglect can only indicate that he was in a most desperate situation.
And do you think that you can catch him?
Yes. The candle here is still warm, so he left only a few minutes before our arrival. But it is the missing violin case and the large pistol which concern me. We know that he is quick-tempered and volatile. It is never wise to leave a gun quite capable of killing a bull in the hands of someone like that.
Did he leave to go to the address which was written in the invisible ink, do you think?
Undoubtedly, Watson. And as for the missing spade, I can tell you that it will be used for digging. Are you ever going to stop delaying me with endless questions?
So, gentlemen, have you found anything?
We have learned enough to promise you that they will not return.
That makes me feel better. Thank you, gentlemen.
We are going to pay a visit to that mysterious address, Watson. But first, we must detour to Lambeth.
Lambeth? What are we going to do there?
Pick up an old friend. He will be a precious help in our locating Mr. Hampford.
Good. And who is this friend?
A friend who helped us in the case you so romantically titled The Sign of the Four.